There are truths so ancient, so disturbing, that humanity has tried to bury them beneath a profound silence. Among them lies a secret about the sexuality of those marked by destiny. The chosen ones, souls who, while living in a human body, vibrate at a frequency this world was never prepared to endure. And it is in the tension between flesh and spirit that the deepest conflict of the chosen ones emerges, the sacred and hidden dimension of desire. Religion preached purity, society demanded moderation, culture shrouded everything in shame. But no one ever dared to admit that when the soul of a chosen one awakens, sexuality no longer corresponds to human definitions. It is neither a sin nor an addiction. It's not morality. It's energy, pure, ancient, cosmic, a fire that doesn't belong to this world, but that persists in burning within you. And perhaps you felt it throughout your life, in ways you've never mentioned. Nights when desire invaded. You like a code written in your DNA. Encounters that seemed more like cosmic unions than human intimacy. Or perhaps times when, despite the alchemy, your body froze as if your soul whispered, "Not now, not this time." Perhaps you've been drawn again and again to broken souls, whose wounds seem to beg for your healing. This is the secret pain of the chosen ones, the silence, the fear of being different, the feeling that your sexuality has no place in this world. While others live with simple desires, you carry within you something sacred, dangerous, overwhelming. You've asked yourself, what's wrong with me? But in truth, there's nothing wrong. What you feel is the unmistakable mark of your calling. That's why you must accompany me to the end. For what I am about to reveal is neither theory nor fantasy nor illusion. It is the lived truth, the hidden side of the chosen ones, the sexuality that no one dared to mention. The patterns you took for curses are in reality sacred codes. The confusion you carried was never madness. It was an initiation. Today I'm going to reveal to you the 5 most secret and strangest sexual habits of the chosen ones. And with each revelation, you'll realize you're not alone. You'll feel seen, you'll feel understood, and you'll finally recognize that your sexuality was never meant to break you. It was always meant to awaken you. But before we embark on this journey, I invite you to mark this moment. If you feel that what I say speaks directly to you, write the number 99 in the comments. Spiritually, 99 symbolizes completion, the end of a cycle, and the birth of a new one. By writing it, you declare your readiness to leave behind the pain of secrecy and access the liberation of your true spiritual identity. And if you haven't already, subscribe now, because the revelations to come will immerse you in mysteries that most people will never dare to face. These truths are not for the general public. They are for you. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and prepare yourself, because from this moment on, the veil begins to fall. Habit number 1. Energetic sexual encounters with the invisible. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, your heart pounding, your skin tingling, and your body trembling with an inexplicable energy? The room was empty. Not a voice, not a touch, not a movement. And yet, you felt as if you were experiencing an intimate encounter, more powerful than anything the physical world could offer. If this has happened to you, you're not imagining it. You're not broken. You're not crazy. You're simply entering one of the most mysterious and forbidden realities of being a chosen one. For many who bear this spiritual mark, intimacy doesn't always involve another human being. Instead, it emerges as an invisible force, encounters with beings who do not live in the flesh, but in frequency. They can be ancestral spirits, guides, interdimensional entities, or energies that defy all naming. They arrive without warning, without our needing to call upon them, sometimes like a gentle presence that envelops you in warmth, sometimes like a storm of fire that courses through your veins. They do not respect human laws. They transcend the boundaries of time and space and use your body as a portal of union. And this is the paradox. Not everyone who comes brings light. Some come to teach, to heal, to awaken forgotten layers of your essence. Others, however, come to nourish you, to drain you, to consume you, to leave you empty in a way no human companion could. This is the danger no one talks about. For when you are chosen, your energy shines like a beacon in the darkness. Your light calls to you and the unseen world responds. What you attract at these times depends entirely on your own vibrational level. That's why one night you may wake up electrified, filled with a strength and clarity that lasts for days, as if the heavens themselves had touched you. And another night, you may wake up weakened, overwhelmed by pain, with a shadow over your mind, because every energetic union leaves an imprint, a link, a thread between your essence and that of another being. And if you don't learn to purify, release and protect your energy, you risk carrying the imprints of entities that were not meant to merge with you. This is not a modern discovery. The shamans, priestesses, and mystics of ancient times knew of these secret unions. They understood that sexual energy is the purest form of life force, the fire that fuels the universe itself. They warned that when this energy is activated in the chosen one, it sends a signal, like an invitation to invisible realms. Some of these realms harbor allies, others predators, and for a select few, the two are drawn together like moths to a flame. But here's the truth most will never dare whisper. These encounters aren't random. They're a reflection of your inner state. They come when your soul yearns for a connection deeper than your conscious mind can admit. They arise when your inner wounds resonate with the universe, calling for answers. Not all of them are safe, nor all of them sweet. Awakening as a chosen one means standing on the edge between ecstasy and danger, bliss and invasion. And perhaps you have felt it, the weight of a presence pressing down on your chest, the sensation of lips brushing your skin when no one else was there, the thrill of a searing kiss without a body. These are not dreams. These are unions that transcend the flesh, and once you experience them, you will never again believe that intimacy is solely physical. However, it is necessary to warn you. Every union creates a contract. Every touch, even invisible, leaves a trace. And if you open these doors without realizing it, you risk entangling your soul in energies that can distort your desires, disrupt your emotions, and even alter the course of your destiny. What seems like passion one night can turn into a chain the next. What seems like a gift of light can over time reveal itself to be a theft of your very essence. So if you are a chosen one and you have felt this way, if you have ever woken up knowing that something invisible has just merged with you, remember this. You are neither a victim nor a curse. You are a portal. Your body is the meeting point of the realms. The key is not to fear it, but to learn to discern it, to purify it, to master it, for only by remaining conscious will you understand the deeper purpose of these encounters. They are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to access your power, to reclaim your ability to navigate the invisible, to embrace the truth. This intimacy has never been mundane for you. It has always been cosmic. And now I want you to ask yourself, have you ever felt that invisible embrace? Have you ever woken up, not with the memory of a dream, but with the certainty that something ancient and supernatural has touched you? If so, then you already know what it means to walk as you were chosen. But this is only the beginning. For while some chosen ones experience intimacy with the invisible, others know a silence so profound that even when desire burns, the body refuses to move. And this silence hides the second habit, the mysterious abstinence imposed not by choice, but by the soul itself. The second habit, the silent abstinence imposed by the soul. Have you ever found yourself face to face with someone you deeply desired? The chemistry was undeniable. The atmosphere between you was charged. Your mind said yes, your body said yes. And yet, at the precise moment of surrender, everything stopped. Not out of fear, not out of shame, but because something inside you, deeper than instinct, whispered a resounding no. Such is the mystery of the chosen ones. While others perceive intimacy as simply an act between two bodies, for you, it's something much deeper. It's not skin-to-skin contact, it's soul-to-soul contact. This is why your mind will never allow you to merge with an energy that isn't aligned with your essence. This is why, at the very threshold of passion, your body closes like a sacred door. It's neither rejection nor dysfunction. It's a protection. Society has never understood it. It's been called frigidity, detachment, coldness, but these labels are lies intended for people disconnected from their spirit. The truth is, your soul bears a seal, a hidden defense mechanism that protects you from contracts you should never have signed. For a chosen one, intimacy is always a contract, invisible but binding. Every act imprints a code on your spiritual DNA. Every encounter leaves a trace that can strengthen or fragment your essence. And your soul, in its wisdom, will prefer to close the door completely, rather than allow a connection that disperses your power. This is why so many chosen ones experience long periods of silence, months, sometimes years of inexplicable abstinence. It is neither repression nor punishment. It is gestation. During these periods, your soul reorganizes its energy, purifies itself and recalibrates itself. Silence is a cocoon where your essence weaves a new blueprint for the intimacy for which you were created. But the world fails to perceive the sacredness of this silence. Your friends ask if something is wrong. Your family worries about your loss of interest in love. Couples feel rejected and helpless when an invisible wall rises between them. They don't understand that behind this silence lies a dialogue, too sacred to be expressed in words. Your body and soul are negotiating the integrity of your essence. And during these long periods, doubt begins to creep in. You wonder if you're broken. You fear being alone. You begin to believe you're cursed. But none of this is true. The abstinence of the chosen one is not emptiness, but transformation. Stillness is not death. It's a metamorphosis. Your spirit is forging a union not based on desire, but on destiny. The pain of this lack is real. It tests your patience. It questions your identity. It makes you yearn for something that seems never to come. But in that waiting, something invisible happens. Your soul rejects all that is superficial, for it knows you are not meant for chance encounters. You were created for sacred recognition. You were created for cosmic love. And when the time comes for your soul to complete its purification, the seal will open. And the union that awaits you will satisfy more than just your body. It will ignite your entire being. It will touch more than just your flesh. It will awaken your destiny. That is why the silence is so merciless, because it prepares you for something too rare, too divine, too extraordinary to waste on someone who can't handle it. So if you've ever felt this way, if you've ever faced desire and your own body betrays you with its silence, remember this. You are not broken. You are not unloved. You are protected. You are prepared. For the chosen ones, abstinence is never synonymous with denial. It is always a matter of preservation. The preservation of a power so exceptional that the universe itself withholds it until the right moment, the right soul, the right destiny arrives. And yet, this silence conceals another mystery. For while some chosen ones are immune to false unions, others are infinitely drawn to those who are wounded, broken, desperately seeking healing. Which brings us to the third hidden habit, the magnetic attraction to wounded souls. Why do the chosen ones so often fall in love with the broken? Why does your heart seem drawn, almost against your will, to those drowning in their own shadow? It's not a fetish. It's not weakness. It's not a savior complex. It's something much deeper, ancestral, inscribed deep within your mind. The chosen ones carry a hidden radar within them, a sensitivity so finely tuned that it detects pain even hidden behind a smile. You walk into a room and without meaning to, you feel it. The unspoken pain, the silent cry, the weight someone carries but never dares to admit it. And before your mind can even reason, your heart responds. You are drawn like a healer who has found a wound crying out to be touched. This attraction is not accidental. It is karmic. It is an integral part of your soul. For within you flow codes of light, currents of energy that naturally awaken in the face of suffering. For the wounded, being near you is a relief, like breathing after years of suffocation. And so they keep coming back. They are drawn into your orbit, not always knowing why, sensing only that somehow your presence is a cure. But therein lies the hidden danger. In your desire to heal, you begin to absorb. You carry their weight in your body. You carry their scars in your mind. What begins as intimacy slowly turns into a transaction. You give and give again until nothing remains of you, only fragments. In these cases, sex is no longer a union. It becomes a ritual sacrifice. You enter their wounds not to receive love, but to heal them with your own essence. And when they leave, because they almost always do, you remain empty, hollow, unable to explain the pain they didn't even realize they caused. This is the painful cycle of the chosen ones. You don't just attract broken souls. You connect with them. You offer them parts of yourself that never return. And when it's over, you wonder why you stayed smaller, duller, while they leave lighter, freer, sometimes without even looking back. The cruel truth is that this pattern will repeat itself until you learn the sacred lesson. You cannot heal yourself by redeeming another. You cannot heal your own wound by healing another's, because often what draws you to their pain isn't just compassion, it's reflection. You are drawn to their suffering because you see it as a reflection of your own, and you secretly hope that by healing them, you will finally heal yourself. But this, dear soul, is the most dangerous illusion of all. You can turn on its light. Yes, you can carry it for a while. Yes, but you cannot flourish through its transformation. Only by turning inward, by ceasing to choose chaos disguised as passion, will you finally break this vicious cycle. So let me ask you a question, and be honest with yourself. How many times have you mistaken pain for love or intensity for true connection? Write it below, not because I have to read it, but because stating it will set you free. Your story may be the mirror another chosen one needs to finally recognize their own pattern. And yet, there is another dimension. For this attraction to what is broken is not always linked to human relationships. For a privileged few, sexuality itself becomes a ritual, a sacred invocation where energy is no longer spent healing others, but is transformed into portals of awakening. And this revelation leads us to the fourth hidden habit. The ancestral practice of sex as a spiritual ritual, a gateway to energetic activation. Habit number 4. Sexual rituals as gateways to energetic activation. For most people, sex begins and ends in the body. It's a fleeting explosion, a momentary escape, a spark that quickly flares up and disappears. But for a select few, intimacy is never just physical. It's a ceremony. It's alchemy. It is the very architecture of energy. In its hands, desire transforms into invocation, and each union becomes a portal through which dimensions open and forces awaken. Long before the modern world reduced sexuality to entertainment, ancient civilizations revered it as a sacred technology. The priestesses of the moon, the tantric mystics of the East, the shamans of forgotten tribes, all knew the hidden truth. When the masculine and feminine merge in conscious union, they don't just exchange pleasure, they ignite creation. They tear apart the veil. They awaken a current that connects heaven and earth within the human body. This is why so many chosen ones, even without formal training, feel the natural need to ritualize their intimacy, lighting candles before union, breathing in unison, visualizing the colors and symbols that spontaneously arise in the mind, whispering words that sound more like prayers than seduction. These are not trivial gestures. They are the ancestral memory of a soul remembering what humanity has forgotten. Sex isn't just an act, it's a spell. In these rituals, every movement becomes sacred geometry. Every rhythm is a language. Every breath is a key that unlocks the depths of the soul. Orgasm, far from being the end, becomes a blaze, a moment when the ego dissolves and the chosen one becomes pure vibration that radiates through spheres inaccessible to words. However, this power carries a danger, because opening doors through sexuality is not a game. It is not a curiosity. It is not a game for the sake of it. Practiced without reverence, without control, these rituals can attract forces that seek not to heal, but to nourish. And instead of rising, the soul becomes entangled in addiction, confusion, and chaos. That's why, throughout history, these practices have been protected and passed on only to those who have purified themselves, who have faced their own shadows, who have understood that sex isn't just about taking, it's about giving. For in the hands of a fragmented soul, sexual energy can become a weapon of destruction, but in the hands of an awakened chosen one, it becomes a bridge to divinity itself. Performed with full awareness, sexual rituals transform the body into a temple and intimacy into an invocation. The chosen one doesn't just seek pleasure. He channels it. He shapes it. They release it as a healing light, as a power of manifestation, as a vibration that spreads into all realms. In those moments, sex ceases to be carnal. It becomes cosmic. It becomes creation itself. And perhaps you felt it too. This instinct to consider intimacy as something deeper. This impulse to create a mood with reverence, to breathe with intention, to lose yourself not just in passion, but in transcendence. If so, it is because your soul remembers. Remember that sexuality, in harmony with the spirit, is not just a human instinct. It is a divine technology. But despite its power, it is not the ultimate revelation. For beyond the rituals, beyond the unions with the invisible, beyond even the silence of abstinence, lies the greatest secret, the complete transfiguration of desire. The moment when sexual energy ceases to be corporeal and even ritualistic, but becomes destiny, purpose, and divine creation. This brings us to the fifth and final habit, the transformation of sexuality into an ascending force, where desire itself becomes the path to divine purpose. Fifth habit, the transfiguration of desire into divine purpose. There comes a time in the chosen person's journey when sexuality ceases to be corporeal. It transcends encounters with the invisible. It overcomes the silence of abstinence. It even transcends energetic rituals. At this point, desire itself is transformed. It becomes purpose, it becomes destiny. It becomes a force through which the chosen one fulfills the very reason for their existence. For most people, desire is seen as a hunger to be satisfied, a fire to be extinguished. But for you, chosen one, desire was never meant to be consumed. It was meant to be mastered. It was meant to be elevated, molded, transmuted into creation, into mission, into divine expression. This is the hidden truth. Your sexuality is not a weakness to be tamed, but a power to be transformed. At this point, the chosen one no longer asks, "Who will satisfy me?" but rather, "What will I create with this fire?" Every impulse of desire becomes fuel for art, healing, teaching, and awakening others. Each wave of passion becomes an offering to the divine, channeled into works that outlive the flesh. Thus, sex ceases to be an end in itself and becomes a beginning. The spark that ignites destinies, gives birth to visions and manifests realities. This is why the great mystics spoke of chastity not as a repression, but as a transfiguration. It is not a matter of extinguishing the fire, but of learning to direct its flames. For the elect, the body becomes an altar, where desire no longer burns for momentary pleasure, but rises like incense to heaven. And perhaps you have already experienced this. Those moments when passion overflowed not in another's body, but in your creation. In words that sprang from your soul, in works of art that seemed to flow through your hands, in visions that transported you beyond yourself. These are not accidents, they are signs. They remind you that your desire not only binds you to the flesh, but propels you toward the spirit. This, then, is the ultimate transformation. When the chosen one no longer seeks union simply to feel alive, but becomes union itself, living in every heartbeat, every breath, every creation that springs from his being. Desire in its purest form becomes devotion. Pleasure in its highest form becomes prayer. And sexuality in its deepest form becomes the very force by which the chosen one fulfills their divine mission. It is the ultimate secret. What you believed was chaos. What you feared was a curse. What you carried as shame was always the card. The sacred energy that was never meant to enslave you, but to crown you. The chosen one does not escape sexuality. The chosen one redeems him, transfigures him, and in doing so, reveals a truth most people will never understand. Sex has never been merely human. It has always been divine. And now that this has been revealed, there is only one more step, to piece it all together. Reflect on how far you've come, and understand why your sexuality has never been your downfall, but always your ascent. Which brings us to the conclusion. Now that the veil is lifted, everything begins to make sense. What you once carried as shame, confusion, or silence has revealed itself to be sacred design. The strange encounters with invisible lovers, the long periods of abstinence, the relentless attraction to the broken, the instinct to ritualize passion, and ultimately, the transfiguration of desire into purpose. None of this was a coincidence. None of this was a curse. Every moment, every fire, every silence was part of a greater initiation. You see, chosen one, your sexuality was never ordinary, because your soul never was. You were not made for superficial relationships or fleeting pleasures. You were not made to disperse your essence where it risked breaking. You were called to protect your fire until the moment it could become light. Not only for you, but for the world. This is why your path was misinterpreted. This is why others failed to understand your silence. This is why lovers came and went, unable to grasp the depth of what you carry within. This is why you felt torn between desire and spirit, because your path was never intended to fit the patterns of this world. It was about breaking them, revealing a truth that transcends them. And now, having seen it clearly, you can free yourself from the weight of insecurity. You can silence the voices that told you something was wrong. You can access the certainty that your sexuality was never a weakness. It has always been your initiation into divine power. From now on, every desire that burns within you is no longer confusion. It is a compass. Every silence that isolates you is no longer punishment. It is protection. Every attraction to pain is no longer chaos. It is a reflection that leads you back to your own healing. Every ritual, conscious or instinctive, is no longer foreign. It is a reminder of your true purpose, and every pulse of energy that wells up within you is no longer just a desire. It is the voice of your purpose. So step forward boldly. Step forward knowing that what sets you apart was never meant to isolate you, but to elevate you. Your sexuality is not your downfall. It is your crown. It is not your shame. It is your key. It is not your burden. It is your bridge. And if these words have awakened anything within you, proclaim it now. Write the number 99 below to symbolize your willingness to break the cycle of secrecy and fully step into your rebirth. 99 marks the end of confusion and the beginning of truth. And if you haven't already, subscribe now because this is only the beginning. What awaits you is deeper, brighter, and more transformative than you can imagine. Chosen, the secret is no longer hidden. It lives within you, and the world awaits the light that only you can reveal.